Sex is the life force energy that runs through us all. Can you use sexual energy for your spiritual evolution? Or perhaps for emotional healing? Is it even possible? Clinical sexologist Dr. Martha Tar Lee will explore all these and more on Eros Evolution on OMTimes Radio.
Hi, my name is Averral, and I am the creator behind the Scarlet Queen YouTube and author of the Red Hourglass series. My YouTube channel, the Scarlet Queen, has 2 million views worldwide, and I had started the channel way back 3 years ago. And I first started out with filming a video every day for 30 days, which is kind of a personal challenge to myself. And so I uploaded a video of myself for 30 days as 2 characters, Risque and Cheryl. So basically it's about the Scarlet Queen who has Risque and Cheryl, who is in the same body, and they are the light and dark selves. So Risque has currently taken over the Scarlet Queen series and has millions of minions under her beck and calling, while Cheryl has disappeared at the moment. And also, I had published the Red Hourglass series since last year. The first book was out on Amazon. The Red Hourglass is out. And it's a series, a thriller series. Basically, it's an espionage undercover spy series about a group of girls who are trained to become assassins, and they are captured by this woman called the White Queen. And the White Queen basically trains these girls to become assassins for the greater good of the world. So in the Red Hourglass, it's set in New York under Janet's point of view. She got rescued on a subway station after running away from home, and that's how the story unfolds. But she falls in love with her victim, so we'll see towards the end of the book who she will choose. And in the second book, The Blue Orca, is set in Shanghai from a different Asian point of view, and it chronological a different point of view from an Asian who, before she became an Asian, she was just a little girl in Hong Kong, and her family ran away from Hong Kong to New York. And then she got sent on a mission to Shanghai. So it's going to be a really interesting cultural in-depth look into China. And also it's about America and China and how the decline of America and the rise of China is in our world right now. It's kind of relevant themes in this book. So it's a lot about corporate espionage, going undercover to, in organizations where the money is going, and how they actually instill justice in the world through their actions. So a lot of people are quite interested how I actually started the YouTube and book series. So basically, when I was a really young child, I spent most of my time in the library reading lots of books. I was quite a bookworm in my childhood years. I could spend the whole day in the library and borrow lots of books, and that's what I did. And after that, I decided I want to become a writer. I want to write my own books because I just love reading books. And I don't know why, but I feel that there's something I could write and contribute to the world that is not what I'm reading at the moment. So I spent many of my years pondering, dreaming, fantasizing to be a writer one day. When it came to college, I decided to actually go into business school instead of creative writing school. It was kind of because there was no creative writing programs in my area at that time, and I thought that I would pretty make a good business person as well. And if I have a successful business, I could write freely without being commercially viable. I don't have to write commercial fiction because I have the finances to write whatever I want. So that was what I thought when I was 18 years old. So I got myself into business school, I got myself a degree, I got my online business started, and now I am a full-time writer because after starting my business, I had the confidence to write whatever I want without having to worry about pleasing anyone, pleasing the editor or any readers, or writing an article for the sake of making ends meet. So I don't have to worry about my finances at this stage of my life. So I can focus on just creating content that I think is missing, and I would like to see more of them in the world, such as my YouTube series is a roleplay, fantasy, BDSM series with lots of underlying tones about minions and control and dominance and submission. So these are the kind of themes that resurface in all the things that I do again and again. It's a kind of subconscious thing. I don't consciously write about those topics. It just resurfaces in all the content that I create. And the YouTube series is really successful. 3 years running, there's a video released every week. There are 5,000 subscribers right now. And my books are gaining momentum at the moment. So I will be releasing a book every year on Halloween, on 30th October, in the Red Hourglass series. And also, I will be releasing my poetry books and short stories over the next few months, which has to do with my exploration on the meaning of life and also BDSM and sexuality. So this is all things that I do on a daily basis, and you can actually find out a lot about me on my website, thescarletqueen.com, where my videos and books are. You can subscribe to my newsletter and get advanced copies and latest updates of what I'm doing at the moment. So this is who I am, and my name is Averral, and I am the creator behind the YouTube series as Risque and Cheryl, who is the same person, which is the Scarlet Queen. I know it's very rare to have an author who has a YouTube channel, and it's a privilege that Dr. Martha Lee has invited me here on live today, and able to share more about what I do. So how this video segment will go today is there will be a 15-minute interval every 15 minutes, and after each interval, I'll go through a new topic. So the next topic coming up is what is BDSM, and there is lots of information online about it, but I have written my own version of what BDSM is about because I have read many books on it, and I would like to actually kind of highlight a piece of history that not many people know about BDSM. So basically, it is actually a kind of linguistic thing we have right now in the world, that BDSM is in the world consciousness because we have invented the language for this thing called BDSM. But many people do not know exactly what it is or what it is about. So in the next segment, I will actually explain what it is truly about, bit by bit, and how I actually stumbled upon it, and how I started to research on it and started to recur in all my creation and content. And actually, it may be part of everyone, and it's nothing different to be kinky or non-kinky persons. Actually, maybe we are all kinky people. It's just that we are suppressed in the modern day and age because of certain societal expectations. So this is what we actually explore in BDSM, is what is being suppressed and what is actually natural to us humans, actually. And this is a theme that I research a lot on. So this is what I will go through later after the break, which I think is coming up at a 15-minute mark soon. Before the break comes up, I would like to just share something about M. Before I could complete my books and videos, I met a guy called M, and he was the catalyst for me actually becoming a full-time writer. Without him, today it would not be possible for me to create so much worlds of art and beauty. He gave me the inspiration to be myself, and he accepted me for who I am. We are not together in this life, for sure, but because he kind of saw me for who I am, and it was the first person in my life who actually kind of told me, hey, you could be a writer, you could do so many things in your life, and without him, I wouldn't have that inspiration to do this, what I am doing right now. So although we may not be together in this life, who knows in the next, but we are definitely not in contact at the moment. But yeah, he was a really big key in the whole series, so you can actually read about him in my poetry book, The Chase. It's actually written for M, and it is the story before the Scarlet Queen, of what happened before I did the Scarlet Queen series. And he was such a deep impact on my life. We barely met more than 5 times, but when you have this person in your life who sees you for who you are, it changes everything. And I'm glad to have that in my life. And basically, Dr. Martha Lee has invited me on this show today to share my knowledge on BDSM, spirituality, minions, roleplay, to talk about my work. And it's amazing to just have this connectivity with the world right now on the virtual space, having people listen in to what I want to share and contribute to them. And it's not like I'm just talking to 10 people. I have the potential reach right now on this radio show to speak to millions of people. And this technology was not possible before in the past and now.
Your conscious lifestyle on steroids. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM. Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Hi, I'm Kelly Fox, host and astrologer of The Astrology Show. Each week, I'll give you access to the current transits, which are a valuable tool that provide astrological information to help unlock the potential each of us has. Understanding the stars can help steer us in the right direction to make better informed choices. So if you're wondering what's going to happen in your week ahead, be sure to tune in to The Astrology Show for guidance. Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
Every 2 minutes, an American is sexually assaulted. The majority of victims know their attacker. It could be your friend, your neighbor, or someone you met at a party. If you said no, it's rape, and it's a crime. This is Christina Ricci with RAIN. Call the National Sexual Assault Hotline today at 1-800-656-HOPE or visit rain.org. That's RAINN.org.
Brought to you by RAIN and this station.
So what is BDSM? BDSM is dominance, discipline, sadomasochism. These are terms invented by the French during the Age of Enlightenment, when the ideas of democracy were being formulated. Following the success of the erotic books of Marcus B. Seti, it created a lot of controversy in Paris for this kind of deviant sexual practices, and it was an uproar in the bourgeoisie society. And at that time of history, book printing became became mainstream. Before that period, access to books were kind of limited because printing was expensive. Paper making, printing books was an expensive thing to do. But after the Industrial Revolution that also occurred during the 18th, 19th century, books became widespread, mainstream. You can get books everywhere. People could afford to buy books, and ideas spread through words in books. And Marcus Dicetti was one of the forerunners of BDSM content creation, and his ideas spread throughout Paris and the world at large because of following. There was Napoleon who spread the Age of Enlightenment ideas, and the philosophers and intellectuals that came along with it. And subsequently, there was an anonymous Parisian author by the name of Pauline Reguet who wrote a really controversial book called The Story of O, which is a more recent work. And basically, it was actually a series of love letters to her lover. And what she wanted to prove to her lover was that a woman could write erotic books. And her lover did not believe a woman could be capable of such thing in the past. We're talking about 200 years ago. Women did not work in a job, let alone write an erotic book. So she decided to write under a pen name, and her lover published her book under his publishing house. And it became so scandalous in Paris that a female author had wrote an erotic book called The Story of O. And they went to the extent of examining each sentence for any signs it's actually a man trying to write it's a female. And they found out it's very unlikely because of the details that she wrote about women dressing, about the way she wore her dress and the way she wore her corset and stockings. It's no way a man could write such content. And it was, they say it would be a woman for sure who wrote this book, not a man under a woman's name who wrote it. So that was one of the first female authors in the world who wrote an erotic book under a anonymous name. And she did not claim credit for the book until she was almost an old woman, like 80 years old. Then she came out in the open, and yes, she is the author, and she was a woman of letters, which is a title in French society given to very prestigious writers. They call them men of letters or women of letters, and she was one of those really famous writers, just that she wrote an erotic book, and it was not accepted at that time. Since then, her coming out writing The Story of O has led way to many mainstream BDSM books written up to date. The Story of O was actually about a woman who agrees to be a man's slave. And we are talking about French society when slavery existed, real slavery, where they had slaves in households. But she, as a bourgeoisie woman, a middle-class woman, wanted to be a willing slave to a man. And it's a consensual kind of arrangement where she enters his chateau and becomes a trained slave to please her master needs. And since then, you can see there's a lot of similarities between The Story of O and our current fiction, which is 50 Shades of Grey. You can also watch The Secretary, which is about a lawyer and the secretary, and she works for him as a secretary, and she pleases him because the lawyer is her master. So we have a lot of recurring BDSM content right now based on The Story of O, about a woman serving a man in a safe, consensual relationship where they can trust each other. And it's different from slavery, which was more like a forced arrangement. In BDSM, what we talk about slavery and submission is more like an arranged concept, which people trust each other to engage in adult activities. So this is kind of the shift that happened over the last few centuries, and this is why we have BDSM today, thanks to the French. So I have a question from a fan called Minion Author. He sent me this email early on the week, and I told him, yeah, I will reply to your email on my radio show. In his question, he asked, can you explain what turns you on about tying someone up and dominating him? I have never done it before. I don't really want to tie anyone up, but I constantly fantasize about being tied up by you or a goddess like you. From my perspective, the turn on will be feeling of surrendering completely to someone I adore and trust, combined with the danger of not knowing where she will push me beyond self-imposed constraints, and I would never otherwise explore. And the thought of my total subservience would somehow turn on the goddess. That's the part I would love to understand. From your perspective as a goddess in control, does it only turn you on when you are sexually attracted to your submissive? Or do you get a feeling of power that turns you on regardless? Firstly, I would like to clarify, I am a switch. A switch in a BDSM language, what we mean by it is we switches are both tops and bottoms. We are both dominant and submissive. We have two roles in one. And a switch is 5% of the BDSM community. You don't need a switch every day. So we are like a rare breed. We can actually be in both roles with the same partner. I know other switchers may have to dom one person and be submissive to another, but for me, I can be a switch with the same partner. And I discovered this recently, that I'm a switch as well. So I was pretty confused my whole life. I thought I was more on the submissive side, but actually I'm a switch because I like to dominate people. And yes, we do get a high, kind of like, I would describe like when you drive, you have a kind of control over the car and the adrenaline high. And when I get to control someone, I get that same high. So I do get a sense of pleasure that I want to control someone and dominate someone because it does give me a high and it does turn me on. And I rediscovered my dominant side only, through experimenting in a very safe and trusting relationship, of course. And it is a kind of journey of self-discovery that what gives you pain or pleasure, and there's no right or wrong answer to this. You can also contact your local fatlife.com. You can go on fatlife.com and contact your local munch to talk to your moderators in your local area to know more about BDSM. If you are top or bottom, submissive or dominant or both, you can talk to the moderators there and the people there, and they will help you to figure out what you are. And they are very helpful. I visited the munch community around the world so far, and they have helped me to explore and discover different sides of myself. So there's no end to the journey. Right now, I can declare that I'm a switch, but who knows, from now, I may be something else. So the language is expanding, the vocabulary is expanding. Right now, we have even terms like queens, princess, we have pets. In the past, there was no such thing. But the vocabulary is increasing because more and more people have learned to identify and associate themselves with the lifestyle, and they call themselves different names. So on FatLife, you can call yourself a name that you like. If you are dominant, you can name yourself dominant. And then you can kind of explore that with people and go to the outings, go to the gatherings and meet other people, because you cannot discover this on your own. It kind of is it's an out there process where you have to interact with people in the community to find out more facets about yourself and get educated on what it is about, because this is a journey of self-discovery. And you can watch a lot of videos and fantasize about it, but you won't know what it really is until you have a partner or a community where you can explore all these fantasies and enact them and explore what it is for you that is. And that's when you get your definition of what you are about. At the meantime, you may be in the dark about it. You may think you're only a submissive or a dominant, but it may be both. So as a switch, I am educating others that you could potentially be a switch too. It's just that you don't have a partner to actually do both sides of the equation. And who knows? Maybe everyone is a switch. It's just that we never explored the territory like space. Up to now, we have not done space travel, for most people at least. And until we go to space, we will then discover what it is like to journey in space. In BDSM, it's the kind of same thing. Many people right now, we have not been to that frontier of what we call subspace. And till we discover what gives us our subspace, which is our high, and the point of high that we feel we are in nirvana or second heaven, you will never know what it is really to be a submissive or dominant or switch, or maybe something else. So I would highly encourage you to take on the journey to space, to subspace, by just joining a local community, a local munch, and take it from there. I have found out so much about myself after doing the munches, and it's a lot to do with conversation. Sorry. So conversation about your preferences, about what you like, and in the conversations you have with people at the munch, you kind of rediscover and, hey, it clicks with me. What he's sharing clicks with me, and you kind of explore through that. So it was only after I joined the munches that I kind of fully identified I was a switch. Before that, I was a confused switch. So that's why you see my YouTube channel, you see the first 30 episodes. I was feeling confused and messy initially because I didn't know I was a switch back then. So I was having these two sides to me, the light and dark selves, and they will always have this infighting thing. And I'll see you after the
Free your mind with OMTimes Radio, IOM-FM. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment, a philanthropic organization. Their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Hi, this is Julie Geigel.
And I'm Susan Schuler.
And I'm Carrie Ann Larson.
And we are
the Psychic Angel Channelers
from Angel Talk Tuesday.
Tune in every week at 10 a.m. Eastern on OMTimesRadio.com.
The angels have heard your call and are here to help.
Are you ready to receive?
Bathe in a beautiful vibrational frequency to help you heal, expand, and remember your magnificence with Angel Talk Tuesday.
What's up? This is Brad and Mike from Lincoln Park for Life Beat, the music industry fights AIDS. Listen up, times are tough and you get a lot of things thrown your way. If you're being pressured to have sex and you're not ready, then say no. If you're having sex, be smart and use protection. Respect yourself and protect yourself.
For more information, call the National AIDS Hotline at 1-800-342-AIDS or log on to www.lifebeat.org.
I am back on the show, and now we are going to talk about spirituality and sex. Because Dr. Martha Lee said if I come on this show, I have to talk about spirituality and sex. To me, spiritual connection is the connection to all humanity and the galaxy. And when I have a spiritual experience, I experience connectedness with the world. Like, I am the world and the world is one. It's a shared humanity we have. And when I get to that spiritual side, I feel a sense of sharing and oneness with the world. And what really troubles me right now is the Syrian refugee crisis. And when I feel so deeply for the world. I also feel for the suffering of the world, and I really hope that one day the world would unite under one entity, not as separate countries, but as one world, talking about a one world government, a one world organization, that we could work together as a world to resolve the world's problems and not be divided by countries, by regulation, by who has more weapons. And I feel really upset when I think about these worldly issues, that there's still hunger, there's still starvation ongoing, although we are in a time of the earth where we are full of abundance. We have technology to feed the world, but this is not happening yet. And I believe the world should work together to resolve its problems. And we may be the only intelligent life in the galaxy. And we should use our intelligence to preserve the natural resources of the planet. But at the rate we are going to destroy our planet in maybe 1,000 years' time, according to Stephen Hawking, that we may even invent the very thing, which is artificial intelligence, that may destroy us, because artificial intelligence could gain access to our nuclear codes and destroy humanity. And before that happens, we have to colonize other planets and go on space travel to make sure that our species do not go extinct, like dinosaurs. And it may be actually our sole purpose, our biological cells, our sole purpose is to procreate and propagate our genes due to our biological construct. Genetically, we are kind of engineered to procreate and have sex. That's the thing. And I link my spirituality with science, and I explore this in my poetry book, In the Chase, and my short story, The Prince, as a science fiction element to it. Basically, spirituality, to me, as we know it, is kind of defined right now by the laws of physics. Physics have now found out that we are living in an ever-expanding universe. We used to believe that our world was flat, and the Earth was in the center of the galaxy. But now physics have kind of overturned that and said, hey, Earth is one of the planets rotating around the sun, and we are just in a galaxy of many galaxies in an ever-expanding universe. And this, in terms, gives me a spiritual outlook to the meaning of life, because if we are in this ever-expanding galaxy, we have an ever-expanding consciousness. And as humans, we could use our ever-expanding consciousness to explore unknown frontiers and territories. And maybe, at the end of the day, the meaning of life is to procreate. As morbid as it sounds, but we are the only intelligent life who can think beyond that. For animals, they don't think anything else. They just do it naturally. They biologically have their hormones to procreate, And humans, we can go one step further and ask what is next after procreating. And we can have a spiritual experience with sexuality, and we are one of the only specimens in the world to actually enjoy sex for pleasure, other than dolphins. So we are a very interesting species, and I really hope that before we destroy ourselves, we will find a way to colonize the planets around our galaxy and find an alternative place to stay before it all ends here. And even my work as a writer, I'm always confronted daily of what if this is the last day of my life? What am I going to create today? And it may be actually whatever I do today is all for nothing, because we don't know how long this knowledge will last and whether my books will last beyond my lifetime, because we are just a really small fragment of time. We are like, human lifespan is maybe 80 years, but the cosmos, they are billions of years old. So we are just a really small, insignificant impact whatever we do on the galaxy, we are talking not about the world, but the galaxy, we have a really, really small impact as humans. And I think if we actually join our efforts as one world, one entity, we can preserve our humanity and start to colonize planets and explore the frontiers. I know this is kind of crazy sounding because it's not what people would think of every day. Most of us are just concerned about, where am I going to work? When is my paycheck coming? When is, I'm going on my next holiday? We don't think about how to preserve humanity, how to save us from extinction. This is not a daily conversation or topic that we think about, but as a writer, this is what I think about every day. And I know that right now, most of the people in our current modern day society are more interested in materialistic acquisitions, in getting more and more and more things. And it's a kind of commercial thing going on, a consumerist society going on, that we have this never-ending increasing need for unlimited wants. And this creates jobs and businesses, but it's also detrimental to the natural resources of the world. And I hope we can evolve beyond that and think one step ahead. So this is what I want to achieve in my writings, in my content, to make people think, what is next? What is after all this money we have? Is there more we can do for the world? Can we resolve the world's problems? Can we save, children who are the refugees? Can we adopt them? Can we house them? Can we feed the hungry in the world? When we have these resources, how to rechannel them? So these are things I actually do explore in my writings right now on a deeper conversation, as I have now began to look outwards and realize what it is, what is the question it means to be human. So I hope that, when you go on my website and read my books, you start to think about these things that is beyond your daily kind of construct in what the society has handed down for you, and start to think on the bigger scale about the universe and all the unknown secrets beyond our galaxy. What it is there intelligent life out there? What is next for us humans? So when I was a child, I was really interested in physics, and I was intrigued by a computer game about solar planets in our galaxy. I was drawn to the concept of time on our planet, and we have 365 days in a year, and that's the amount of time it takes for a planet to orbit the sun. For other planets, they may take 200 days, or they may take 5 years to orbit the sun. And if a human is born on another planet, we will age differently. Instead of 20 years on Earth, we may be only 4 years old on another planet. So our concept of time is linked to our sun and our Earth orbiting around the sun. That is the human concept of time and how time is passing. We have 24 hours, 60 minutes, 60 seconds. It's all determined by actually how the Earth moves around the sun. So to put it in perspective, time is a concept invented by humans to determine second by second what we are doing at each moment. And we have to understand what time is about in order to use time well. So this is what I explore in my story in The Prince, which is basically a prince who wants to have all the power in the galaxy. So he goes on a hunt for a meteorite, a blue meteorite stone that will give him control and power over the whole galaxy. And after he left, he was actually engaged to a princess, and the princess did receive an engagement ring from the prince, which contained a tiny little stone of the blue meteorite. And after the prince disappeared, she realized that her engagement ring contains the special meteorite stone that gives her superhuman powers. And she could use the stone to bend people's will, to submit to her will, to get her way around things in the castle. And she could make everyone knew and become her minions. And she became a kind of like a really dark queen because of the prince's disappearance. And she uses the meteorite to entertain herself, the power of the meteorite to entertain herself by making her minions slap themselves for her entertainment. So this is the story I'm writing about right now, called The Prince. It will be out next year. So if you get on my newsletter, on my website, you will actually receive notification when it's out. And basically, why the prince disappeared is because he enters a different space-time conlintum by mistake on his hunt for the blue meteorite stone. And he can't come back to the universe because he has entered a different dimension. So it's kind of like my thoughts on, we have all this increasing need to have more power, have more money, so we can control things and people around us. But what it is really, at the end of the day, what does that give us? Does it give us real love? So that is what I explore in the Prince. And the princess has right now have made a subservient populace dependent on her will. And it's kind of fun to write it because she does lots of crazy stuff with her powers as a princess in the story. And this is something I'm really excited about working on. It's only about 5,000 word short story, but writing it really opened me up to a world of space travel and physics, which is amazing. And I know that, like, for me as an artist, I hardly dabble in science. I spend my hobby reading books and going to the museum and art galleries, and I have no contact with science. And for me to venture into writing science in my fiction is like becoming a Renaissance woman for some reason. And it's my infatuation with M, who was a science teacher, so he made me explore like the scientific aspects of life and what mysteries it holds. So I have now inculcated scientific elements in my writings, and it has brought me to another stage of exploration beyond the fantasies that I usually write about. So now you have an idea that I am writing a book every year in the Red Hourglass and the short stories which are coming from.
The best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio, your conscious lifestyle on steroids. The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Come heal yourself. What is healing? Healing is nothing but connecting with your all-knowing higher self that already has solutions to all your problems and is always there to guide you. Through this show, we help you to connect with that you are and tap into that innate potential you have to transform your life and fly high. Please join me, your host Monica Goyal, every Sunday, 7 p.m. Pacific. Namaste.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
To get in the way before it happens.
To get a friend home safe.
And to not blame the victim.
It's on us.
To look out for each other.
To not look the other way.
It's on us to stand up.
To step in.
To take responsibility.
It's on us, all of us,
to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Hello, I'm back, and now I'm going to go through the next segment, which is what is minions and roleplay. So, what is a minion? A minion is simply one that follows orders without question and is happy to do so. And in the movie Minions, it's about a group of minions who want to serve a powerful figure. The word minion stems from the original word child. So, what is roleplay? Roleplay is about enacting one's fantasies in a safe setting. Some of our fantasies are not socially acceptable at the moment, and role-playing allows us to release our suppressed desires. In a male-dominated world, sometimes men want to lose control and submit to a female. In primitive hunter-gatherer societies, there was gender equality and no materialistic acquisitions, and everything they had was shared with the tribe. So, in the modern world, an increasing pressure on men to acquire financial resources for women has led to a stage where men feel increasingly frustrated at their roles and responsibilities as a provider. Role-playing allows men, even women, to release this frustration and revert back to their natural state. So what is female domination? Female domination, what we call femdom, is actually submitting to a feminine power to release responsibilities for that moment of pure bliss and freedom. And right now, I wrote, before I go on to the role-play segment, to invite you to role-play as a minion, I would actually like to answer a question by a fan. He has asked, what is the difference between a minion and knight? And basically, a minion and knight, there's a difference. And in my YouTube channel, at least. So what I would say a minion is a completely submissive, subservient minion who will just obey commands without question. And a knight is someone who is like kind of a switch, you know. He has this like dominant thing going on, but he also likes being a minion. He has this submissive thing going on. So knights refuse to be called minions because they think they are not minions. They think they are knights because they do have this puppy dominant thing going on, and they just want to express themselves. So basically, that's the difference between a knight and a minion. And a knight can also display knightly attributes, like they can, you know, they can kiss a girl's hand or feet. So, you know, what you think of a knight in those days where they serve dames, you know, where they would actually serve women in the past, chivalry. And I think that was probably even before Shakespeare, that times of being a knight. So, but a minion is a more modern concept right now because we have the movie Minions, and in the movie Minions is a child actually. So they are just a bunch of minions who love to play, and they are children, and it's kind of fun to imagine one is a minion. And this is a very recent thing that we have a mainstream language of what it is called minion. And in the movie Minions, the minions want to serve a powerful figure. And in my YouTube channel, it's kind of the same thing. The minions want to serve the Dark Queen Risque. And basically, they actually like serving the Dark Queen, but when they see Cheryl, they are like, who is Cheryl? So they don't have no idea why Cheryl appears in the videos, although it's the same person, which is the Scarlet Queen. But where else the knights do recognize there is a Cheryl behind Risque, and Cheryl is just right now hiding out, and Risque is dominating the series. So basically, this is the difference between a knight and minion. So, basically, in my YouTube channel, it has to do with a lot of role-playing because there are actually 3 characters, the Scarlet Queen, Risque, and Cheryl. And these 3 characters take turns to appear weekly on the YouTube channel. So it's a very interesting kind of setup. And I have theater background, and for one person to act in a play as all roles is kind of a very interesting challenge for an actor. In fact, an actor would want to push themselves to act as both the good guy and the bad guy to the extreme, and that is kind of a definition of what a actor would do to kind of explore his acting soul. Does that make sense? So in my YouTube channel, I also bring that to the next level and explore the villainous side of me and the more innocent side of me, which is Cheryl. And I play it out in a kind of role play setting, taking turns. One is risky, the other one is Cheryl, and sometimes the Scarlet Queen herself, who is the creator, she comes on to show, hey, I'm here, I'm both person actually, just that they are just messing around with my camera and uploading these videos on YouTube, and I don't know what the hell they're doing. So it's kind of three characters interacting with each other through the videos, which is a very interesting thing that I've done for YouTube, and it's one of its kind. I don't think you can find another channel like this. So it's a unique channel, and now minions love to go on it to role play as minions. And right now I'm going to invite you to be a minion. So basically you just have to listen to my instructions and just obey my commands, and just imagine you are role-playing, and I'll be Risque, the Dark Queen. So right now, you are a minion, and a minion must listen to instructions, and instructions is about obedience. So get on your knees right now. Yes, I know you may be a minion or not a minion, you may be a knight or you may be a queen, but for this segment, we will assume everyone is a minion, and everyone listening to this right now has to kneel on the floor right now. Yes, kneel on the floor right now and be a good minion you are. You know you want to kneel before my voice because you are a minion. So go on your knees right now. Now that you're on the floor, put your hands behind your back. Yes, put your hands behind your back like the minion you are. You should put your hands behind your back. Yes, now that your hands are behind your back, you may bow onto the floor. Put your forehead onto the floor right now. Yes, that's where you are. Bowing to the floor, kneeling, bowing with your hands behind your back as the minion you are. And I know you're absolutely loving this right now, and you can't explain why, because you have not explored the dark frontiers of the galaxy of what it means to be a submissive minion. So right now, I'm inviting you to go deeper into your submission and bow your head onto the floor, feel your hands behind your back, and squeeze your hands on your wrists. Squeeze your hands on your wrists. Feel the tension behind your back on your wrists. Yes, do that as a minion you are. Now that you have done that, you may get up, put your head back onto where it originally was. A kneeling position. Go back to your kneeling position. That's right. So now you are kneeling back again, and you have now experienced what it is to be an obedient, submissive minion that you are. Yes. So you are a submissive, obedient minion, and that's what you are. Don't you like it? Don't you want to play more? Don't you want to know what is next? Don't you want to know all these things? I'm teasing you right now because I'm not giving you what you want, which is to play. And I know you want to play, but I'm not allowing you to play because this is just an introduction to what being a minion is about to people who have not experienced what a minion is. So I'm happy that you have participated in the kneeling minion with your hands behind your back. And if you love these instructions, you can listen to them on my YouTube channel. Yes, That's right. It's all on my YouTube, all these instructions. And you can participate as a minion all night, or a queen, if that is what you like. And that is what I do in the Scarlet Queen channel as the Dark Queen Risque. I'm happy that you have participated, and thank you for having me on the show. It's a privilege for me to connect with the world through this radio channel and be at one and at peace with the world. And this gives me a spiritual kind of insight that whatever I do right now is a legacy for the world. And I may disappear one day, but these things, this content, even right now, this recording will live on forever on virtual space. And that gives me peace to know that my works are immortalized forever. And writing a book, creating a video, recording a voice recording like this is all immortalizing every aspect of what I could be. Thank you. And be sure to